Good morning students, welcome back. So today I am making this video for standard 10 history chapter 2 nationalism in India. So in the previous class we had discussed about the First World War and its effects. We had also discussed about the Rowlatt Act, the Suppressive Act. We discussed about the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, in which hundreds of people were killed mercilessly by General Dyer. So all this gave a spark to the national movement in India. So today we will discuss about Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement. Now this Khilafat movement and the non-cooperation movement were started just after this Jallianwala Bagh incident. Now what is this Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement? I will come a little later. Now after this Jallianwala Bagh massacre, the situation in the country was changed. The rebel group, the extremist group in India, this became very violent and they took aggressive steps to attack the British government. Now, in between those movements, in between those acts, this Khilafat movement was launched. Though this Khilafat movement, this particular Khilafat movement has nothing to do with India, but the Indian Muslims, they supported this movement under the leadership of the Ali brothers. The name of those brothers were Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Now what actually this Khilafat movement was? Now from the word Khilafat, you can understand the word that is Khilaf. Okay, you can see this Khilafat comes from the word Khilaf. Khilaf means against. Against whom? Against the British. Now who turned against the British? These Ali brothers, Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Now what happened? This Khilafat movement was actually linked with an Euro-Asian country, that name is Turkey. Now in Turkey, there used to be a holy place for Islam. Now after the First World War, the British somehow insulted the Khalifa over there. It was termed as a holy place. The British, they insulted some Islamic something over there. Some Islamic religious matters were insulted in Turkey. And there was a nationwide protest. All the Muslim leaders, they were protesting against this act which was done by the British. So Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, they were leading this movement. And in the course of this movement, they took Gandhiji in their team, in their party. Now Gandhiji took it as a golden chance to unite the feelings of Hindus and Muslims against the British. So it was a golden chance for Gandhiji to unite the Hindus and the Muslims and bring them under a same platform. And even these Ali brothers, the Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali, they were also ready to support Mahatma Gandhi for the non-cooperation movement in India. As Gandhiji promised to support them for the Khilafat movement, so they also promised in return Gandhiji that they will also support the non-cooperation movement in India. Now, this Khilafat movement was launched nationwide. It shook the foundations of British. The British became very terrified by seeing the unity of the Hindus and the Muslims. So, with that, simultaneously, there was another movement that was gaining pace, that is the non-cooperation movement. Now, what actually this non-cooperation movement is? Non-cooperation, that means this movement was for non-cooperating with the British ideologies, the British titles, the British jobs. Mahatma Gandhi appealed the people for the boycott of foreign goods and foreign services. So Mahatma Gandhi appealed to the Indian citizens to boycott the foreign products and services. Under the foreign products, mainly the garments. The garments were said to be boycotted. And beside the garments, there were many other things that was boycotted. The services were many professionals that resigned from their services. Many people, they returned their titles. Now I will read out from the book. You can understand what was actually done in this non-cooperation movement. I am reading few lines. Page number 41. You can see the non-cooperation movement was finally launched in January 1921 by adopting certain measures to be taken at various stages. Resignation of titles and honorary posts. That means what? That many people, they used to get titles from the British. It was a type of respect. Many Indian poets, writers, they used to get titles from the British. So these people, those intellectual people, they used to return their title. Resignation from the civil services under the government, resignation from police and army, non-payment of certain taxes, boycott of government and government-aided schools and colleges, and mainly boycott of foreign goods. Many Indian students, what they did, they boycotted the British education system. Many lawyers, they stopped practicing the law under British courts. Many police who were serving under the British police, they had resigned from their services. And the main attack that was done, the main thing that affected the British was the boycott of the foreign goods. Now, as the people, they were boycotting the foreign goods, what happened? The production, the British production, it almost reduced to half. Now, this mass appeal, which was done by Mahatma Gandhi, it gained an unexpected momentum. This movement was, it was gaining momentum very fast. And the movement in towns and the non-cooperation movement in town and the cities, it was holding its own place. Now in towns, what happened? That many people, they created bonfires. Bonfires of what? Bonfires of the foreign clothes. The foreign clothes were burned on the streets. It was a loud and clear message to the British that the Indians are not ready to accept the foreign clothes. So in this movement, in the movement in towns, it was really a very big challenge that was taking shape before the British. But as the days passed, suddenly it was felt that this movement was getting slow. Why? The reason was that in towns, the movement was actually moving in, the movement was done in such a way that it had no fixed target. And as a result of that, because of the consumption, it was very time consuming movement. And it was not really bringing any core results to the Indian freedom, Indian nationalism movement. And as a result of that, what happened? Many people, they had lost their trust in that movement, in that non-cooperation movement. Now, firstly, I would like to say that if we talk about the students who had earlier left the British colleges and institutions, after a few days, they again went back over there. Why? The reason was that parallel to the British institutions, there was no such institutions in India. There was no such Indian institution that could replace the British education system, or that could compete with the British education system. That is why the students felt that this movement the movement is moving towards complete darkness. So this was the first thing. Secondly, the people who resigned from the services, they also, after a few days, when they realized that this movement, earlier it was very strong, but slowly and steadily it is losing its pace. And it had no future. After that, what happened is that some of them started to resume their services again. So in towns, there was the movement was very strong, but slowly the movement started to lose its speed. Now in village, what happened? In the village, the movement was done in a different way. In village, the farmers, they were protesting against the zamindars and the talukdars over there. Now they took the message of Mahatma Gandhi in a different way, and they started to take this movement in a different format, and they were not paying any taxes. They understood that now they are free and they can do anything. But actually the message was not like that. They were not getting the proper information. There was a huge communication gap in the villages. Another problem that the Indians faced was that after the boycott of the foreign clothes, the khadi replaced. But because of the price of the khadi, the people could not afford to buy it. So they could not afford to buy that khadi. After that, what happened? They again started to purchase the foreign-made clothes. So this was about the non-cooperation movement, how it gained its speed and how the speed became very slow with the passing of time. So in this video, I am wrapping up this video over here. I will come with the next video very soon. Till that, stay home, stay safe, goodbye.